Welcome to the Soul Revival Podcast, where we have deep and meaningful conversations exploring modalities, tools, and healing, guiding you back to your most expansive soul self.
Welcome back to another episode of the Soul Revival Podcast. Today we are doing part 2 of a very special episode series. So if you haven't listened to part 1, I highly suggest going back to the previous episode, listening to part 1 first. But today we are going to tell the magical love story of Lindsay and Kim, the synchronicities that led them together, the love that brought them together, all of the signs and the breakthroughs, and just the soul wisdom that Lindsay carried into this love story. So with that, Lindsay, if you want to go ahead and take the mic and tell all of our audience and our friends this beautiful, magical story.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I'm just going to say that this is going to be the highlights because there's so many things that have happened like in the last year and a half, like so many things that have happened. So many signs, so many connective elements. But so it is crazy that how the universe works with divine timing. And I mean, I experience it on the daily, whether it's something small like getting a parking spot or something huge like manifesting a reincarnation of a dog or calling in like a new love of your life. So I well, first of all, let me say I was not even supposed to go, but I went to a concert series. So I'll just say I'm a huge Brandy Carlisle fan for all the Brandy Carlisle fans out there. And her mothership weekend, I don't do concerts unless I have like really good seats. Like that's just a thing of mine. Like if there's gonna be no difference between me listening to a song on my car radio and like visibility at a concert, I'm not going. I'm really intentional about my seats. And so the pre-sale happened. I was supposed to go with a friend, and the day of the pre-sale, she said she couldn't go. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to go then. So I didn't buy the pre-sale and I just put it out of my mind. This goes back to December of that year. And so and the concert series is in May. It's Mother's Day weekend, hence it being called Mothership. So I wasn't even going to go. And I do not go to things I don't need to go to alone. I just like, that's just not my jam. Like, I'm not the type of person who's going to go out to dinner by myself or go to a movie by myself. Like, I just don't, that's just not my style. So the fact that I didn't get tickets with my friend, like, pretty much normally would have meant, like, okay, not happening. I have no idea why. Obviously, I do now, but like at the time, I was like, I all of a sudden, like a month out from the event, like kind of got this wild like feeling of like, I think I'm gonna go. Like if there was ever a sacred space where you would feel alone and comfortable, it's at a Brandy Carlisle event. I mean, like her people are truly a vibe and a community. And so I started to try to buy a ticket. So the way it works is it's a festival and you've got a cove. So it's a dedicated spot that you go back to every day because it's a multi-day concert. And they have tons of different artists. Like they start at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and then go all the way through, late at night. And so you've got one spot that you're always coming back to. And you've got cove mates. Well, people buy bigger coves than they need, and then they'll like sell random tickets to somebody. So bought a cove pass from a girl who was supposed to go with her mom, and then her mom couldn't go. And so I was like, oh, perfect. Like another female, like it's just good. This is perfect. After I booked all my travel, dog sitter, all the things, she reaches out to me and is like, I need to refund you. Like my mom can go now. So you're out. So I'm like, oh my God, I was so annoyed. So there's Brandy Carlisle has this group, speaking of amazing community called the Bramley, and it's like all of her, everybody that's a huge Brandy Carlisle fan is in the Bramley, and like it is truly like a family. And so people in the Bramley like found out about this, and so everybody was trying to get me like a spot in a cove. And so, and I'll just say that the cove that you're in like depends on where you're sitting in the concert. So it's like a huge piece of property. And if you think of it like a pie with the stage in the front, like I was supposed to be all the way on the left-hand side of the pie and in my original cove. And so people helped me. I ended up in a cove with this family from the East Coast. They're amazing. Still friends with them. It was a husband and wife and their adult son, and it was absolutely perfect. Like they looked out for me like parents. Like the dad like had such dad energy. Like they took me out to dinner. It was, if you were ever traveling by yourself as a female to an event, like this was like the group to be with, because they were just so warm and inviting and made me feel completely welcome and included. And even though it was literally their family, they were just awesome. So I like had total independence, but I also had, this, like, they were just a great like little support. So every day in the cove mates next to me would like, say hi or whatever. But there was one person who just had a very, very different energy. And I found myself like lighting up in a way that I didn't think I would light up ever again. And we would just always be like, hi, and there's just like a vet, we're energy, right? So there's like just this like vibe. And I there are so many things. I'm just going to say right out the gate that there are so many things that I did during this whole process that I've never done in my life and are just totally counterintuitive to everything that I would ever do. Like, so you want to talk about being a channel? Like, if you ever like thought that spirit comes through you, flows through you, moves through you, like this proof is in the pudding with this for sure. So, um, I would say the final day of the event. So she very much had my attention, and I would definitely say by her vibe with me, like I had hers. And there was just a really, really strong high vibrational energy between the two of us. And so um, the last day of the event, I think just having been there by myself for 3 days had just kind of caught up to me. And I started feeling sad and alone. And that morning I had gone to work out. And when I came back, I just had a meltdown. I started crying. I was laying in bed, like I was almost hyperventilating. I was crying so hard, feeling just so alone. And I had some stuff going on with the company that Roger and I ran together. And I was just really deep in grief that morning, very deep in grief that morning. The whole time I had my condo for this event, I never once turned the TV on. That morning, I, for whatever reason, turned on the TV, and it was playing some movie. And as soon as I turned it on, I knew I was supposed to turn it on. I was supposed to see this movie. It was in the thick of it, but essentially I knew it was a sign. Essentially, the premise of it was this, and it's a true story. It's based on a true story, and I've had it pop up as signs for me since. But it's a true story about a girl that falls down a tree, and she had a terminal illness before she fell down the tree, and they took like all these fire rescue crews to get her out of this tree trunk, and not only was she saved from the tree trunk, but the experience she had with the angelic realm while she was down there, basically on the other side, cured her of her illness that was going to take her life. And I was like, oh my God, okay, okay, okay. I hear you. I hear you. I know, like, I appreciate. I'm like so grateful. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to be present. Like, I'm not going to be sad. Like, I'm just going to enjoy, because I knew it was like clearly a sign for me, like, you need to like be tapped into the joy. Don't worry about these other things. And so it completely shifted my mindset, as many times deep signs do, and just put me in the high vibrational energy of gratitude. And I will say too that I had been staying like off property, having never been to this event before. I had no idea, like, I always like do research, figure out how close the venue is, whatever. And it seemed very close. But what I didn't know about this area was it is like impossible to get an Uber or a Lyft. And so I was paying an insane amount of money to get Ubers and Lyfts for like 2 miles. But so I had that struggle every day prior getting to and from the concert, which is going to come into play here in a minute. So the final day of the event, I go to the concert and I'm in the Cove, and like I'd gotten there early, and so had the people in the Cove next to me. And I had been like wanting to the night before. Um, Kim, who was in the Cove next to me, had come up. There was some like a group of women who had like these water bottles that had like mothership on them. And the one thing I had told Julie, the mom of the group that I was with, that I wanted was like a Yeti type of thing, you know, for like with a logo on it. And she's like, but they, and we kept checking. She tried to help me find one, and like none of the vendors had that. And these women come back with Yetis. And I'm like, where did you get those? And they're like, oh, it was like a gift for the people staying on resort, which I wasn't. And I was like, and they're like, it's at the guest services tent. And I'm like, I'm not staying here. Like, I'm not going to be able to get one. And they're like, you know what? We have an extra, just take it. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, just take it. So Kim sees this whole thing, and she comes over and she's like this close to my face, and she's like, where'd you get the water bottle? And I was like, well, I'm like these, and I told her the story. She's like, well, I know that, but where'd they get it? And she was like, it just shifted everything because she was so close to my face. And I was like, oh my God. So that was the night before. So I'm like, I like had in my head, and this is just so not me. I was like, I have to like get her phone number. So I the sign happens that morning. I'm in a good headspace, go back to the Cove, and I started talking to her Cove mates, and one of her Cove mates moved. So Kim had been sitting on the side next to where the rope was, where I was sitting, but one of her Cove mates like took that seat. So now she was on the opposite side of the Cove, so not close to me. So I'm like, ugh. So I wanted to get her number. So I started talking to the other Cove mates who I had talked to off and on throughout the weekend. And I'm like, oh, the one went to concerts a lot. I was like, can you just put your phone number in my phone? Like, we should coordinate because she lives in one of the Carolinas, and she's like, goes back and forth from Nashville to concerts and stuff. Her and her partner go to concerts like as a sport. But, and so I had them put their phone numbers in my phone, which was all strategic. And then I was like, oh, I'm like, Kim, like, can you put your number in my phone too? And I was like, and I asked her, I'm like, I guess I must have asked her for her email. I don't know. For some reason, email came up, and she told me that her email was Brave Soul. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, I run a healing business that's the Soul Revival. And, I automatically thought that was like a crazy sign and connection. Like the fact she would even have like, I mean, there's only certain people in this world, right, that even use the word soul. And it's people who have a deeper awareness for the most part. So she puts her phone number in my phone, and then when the concert starts, Bonnie Raitt was opening for Brandy Carlisle that night. And I no, like it's loud. We all have our phones out. Like even if you didn't have your phone on silent, you're not going to hear it. And I mean, we were really close to the stage, and so I don't drink. I really don't drink. It's not that I like intentionally don't drink. I just don't drink. Like I just don't really like alcohol. And so, but for whatever reason, I texted her and asked her if she wanted to get a drink. And she texted me back, and this is like hilarious because she does like to drink, like she enjoys a wine and whatever. But she texted me back, no, thank you, but would you like company? And so it just literally was opposite. Like it's completely opposite of how we both are. Like, and I've never in my life asked somebody to get a drink, never in my life. And so we go to like the vendor area, which I grabbed her hand, and it was like instant spark. And we end up having a whole conversation. There's like almost like this like fence that was kind of by the vendor area where you can still see the stage, but you're far enough out that you can actually hear each other without like screaming. And I mean, I had my wedding band and engagement ring on. I mean, I always wore them. And never, I mean, didn't, would not have thought about it or changed it, and but it came up naturally, like the whole conversation around Roger's passing and me being there alone and everything. And we ended up listening to Bonnie Raitt from The Fence, like just with our arms around each other. And there was just something just completely different, just a soul spark connection that when you have that connection, that connection and it's like undeniable. And fast forward, she ends up, we recorded one of Bonnie Raitt's songs, and she ends up asking her co-mates to give me a ride because they had driven to the event. So they drive me back, and we ended up exchanging a quick kiss after I got out of the car. And it's so funny, we both put our phones on do not disturb and at night, and she, for whatever reason, knew my phone was on do not disturb. She called me twice and left me the cutest voicemail about wowing her, and like how wow, you didn't answer, and like wow, you just wowed me. It's the cutest voicemail ever. Anyway, so I called her back and we ended up talking literally all night. We both had super early flights home. And as the universe likes to work, she actually had a layover in Nashville, which is not on her flight. Like, it made no sense that she stopped in Nashville. And then our planes literally crossed each other. As I was landing, she was taking off. And I just all like in the like 2 hours that I was, laying there not talking to her on the phone, I was like, oh my God, I have to get her to Nashville. I just knew I had to get her to Nashville. And of course, this is Mother's Day weekend. I'm like, do I ask her to come for Memorial Day? I'm like, no, that's going to be too soon. I can't ask her Memorial Day. I'm going to pick 4th of July. I'll see if she can come for the 4th of July. And at first she was like, yeah, let me check and see. And then I'm like, check and see, like, no. But before the phone call ended, she already agreed.
Oh my goodness. Well, first, all of the divine alignment that had to happen, like all of the pieces that had to happen to get you and
Crazy.
Kim next to each other. Kim is one of a kind. And I think that, there's a lot of also similarities in energy between Roger and Kim as well, which I think is really important to talk about too, because um it's just
Like her energy with me.
exactly, exactly. And it's just like it leaves me speechless. It's hard for me to find words to speak on it, but I see it and I feel it and I'm here for it because I'm like, yes, this is it.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, like just all the crazy things that had happened, because the thing I guess I didn't state is when I was in that like deep grief state in the morning, I wanted to leave. I was strongly considering changing my flight and going home. And then that movie came on and it shifted everything. And I know that the other side was like, no, 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 we've got to keep her there.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly.
It's
Oh
just
my
so easy to see that in retrospect. But yeah, so I mean, it's crazy though. Like the amount of the all the things that had to happen, all the things that had to shift, all the changes and ways that I do things that had to occur for it to come down like the way that it came down. It's just like it's it's jaw-dropping, mind-blowing, and just shows you when we can relinquish attachment to what we think our future should look like, which is really what this is about. Then we open the door to possibility. You don't even have to imagine what it could be. All you have to do is just relinquish attachment to what you thought it was going to be, and getting out of the energy of, I easily could have been wallowing in the energy of what Roger and I's life was supposed to look like, but that's the one thing doing the big work did for me, was to release that and not feel like I'd been slighted, and be into the energy of like the why was this happening from a positive perspective, knowing that it was enabling me And he is helping me from the other side to help others. And that's why we had to go through this, and being in that energy versus like a victim type of mentality of thinking that we were shorted. And I think that's really important to note, because I think that goes back to things I mentioned in part one about just openness and love energy versus like fear energy. And when we're in that restrictive energy of like, why was I robbed of this? Then it's like very difficult for magic and miracles to happen. It's not that they can't happen, but it's just like more of a restrictive energy. So I did want to mention that.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important to do the inner work so you can quiet the mind. Because in the present moment, when your heart is fully open, that brings you those nudges, and you're like, okay, well, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing this. I'm gonna go do this. And now you and Kim are getting married, and there's so much, just magic.
But I have some really important stories I want to share.
Absolutely.
So this I get and have gotten so many signs and validations about Roger sending her to me, like the connectivity of Roger through her. Um, I don't even want to restrict it to human language and thought, but it's way beyond what we can even conceptualize. Like there is deep connection there. But I'm going to share. So it happens all the time. I have so many amazing stories, but I'm going to share a couple key ones. So, um, I mentioned in part one about the really special sacred sign that he and I talked about before he passed, that he mentioned to me. And in less than 2 weeks of knowing her, she delivered it to me. And I was just floored. I had full body chills. First of all, I just want to say she lives on the East Coast. So she delivered this virtually. But she goes to a monastery once a month on the East Coast. It's a very well-known monastery, absolutely beautiful. I've gotten to go there a few times now and meet the nuns and the monks, and they're amazing. And has gone there for years as a retreat, and they're family to her. And she was at one of these retreats with them this one weekend, and the monks were having a concert. Now, I'm going to say I don't even feel like she probably was supposed to be videotaping any music that they were singing. I don't know what the rules are, but I'm assuming you're probably not supposed to videotape. But she was, Big Kim. She was videotaping. And she sent me a video, and I'll tell the video in a second, but I will tell you that to this day, that video has never gone to a single other person. She's never ever been able, it was too large of a file, and she's never ever been able to get it to anybody by email, by text, in any capacity to anybody else ever. It only went to me that night. And the video, when I played it, it was late, which we don't stay up late. Neither one of us do. But that particular night, she sent me a video, and it ended at 11:11. Which, of course, if you've been following me and Roger, you know, is a huge sign that he sends me. And the video was the song that he told me, the sacred message that he told me that he would send through somebody if he sent me, came back, however you want to view it. That was the sign. And it was, I think this is important to note because it's a Catholic monastery, so this doesn't fit at all, like why they sang this song that night. Literally, God only knows. But they sang Danny Boy, and that was the message that Roger had told me that he would send. Yeah.
I have full body chills.
Yeah.
Had to
And
tell.
I just remember I was standing going from my living room to my master bedroom or primary bedroom. And I literally just dropped on the couch, like just like crying tears of gratitude, full body chills, like all the things. So, and then like she sent me so many letters, and it's crazy how the language in regards to me mirrors the language of letters that Roger sent me when we were dating. Like it's crazy, the similarities, like crazy. And you know, these aren't like, they're not generic things. Like it's very specific language. And then the last one I'll share is she sent me a card, and it kept getting delayed in the mail. It just wasn't showing up. We kind of had figured out the cadence of the mail, that it typically would take like 3 or 4 days for things to get back and forth. And this card that she sent me was way past that amount of time. And she was getting really upset. And I was like, what? Like, what is with this card? Well, what I didn't know was there was something very special inside the card. And it ended up arriving the day before Roger's birthday, which was, I think, on a Sunday that year. So I think it came the Saturday before, and which obviously was intentional. And when Roger passed, he loved trinkets. So he had like, and he was very, I guess I'll use the word superstitious. I don't know how there were deep meaning to things. He would assign deep meaning to things. And like, you know, like 1111. And he had a little good luck frog that he would give me, like if one of the dogs was at a dog show, like when Mateo was out showing, he would give me he would let me borrow the little frog for good luck, and it worked. I mean, it always brought good luck. And so, and then he had a couple other trinket type of things that were deeply meaningful to him and had, you know, basically spiritual connection for him. So when he passed, the kids and I kind of split those up. So his daughter took one of the little trinkets, and I took the frog. What was in the card that arrived the day before his birthday was this coin, this angel coin, which is the other trinket that Megan took that Roger carried in his pocket like his whole life, the whole time I knew him, for years. And Kim had carried this very same coin, very exactly identical same coin in her pocket for 20 years. And she was guided to send it to me. And it arrived right before his birthday.
If that doesn't leave you speechless, I'm like trying to find words. That is what I mean by magic. I mean, that is pure validation. That is so uniquely aligned to Roger's energy and just it being omnipresent and just love can come back. You are always guided and to be open to accepting the love and the magic and loving yourself enough to do the healing and knowing that you're worth this.
Yeah.
That is what this experience is about is really doing the inner work in the self-love so then you can experience all of this and you know when things happen and things come to you without a doubt in your mind that this is the way the universe works and we are constantly co-creating and love will come back. Love always is there.
Yeah,
Love always is
exactly.
there.
Yeah. And I want to say too, to that point, that this isn't just a relationship. This is like big, big love. I wouldn't have settled. I wouldn't have been interested in just a relationship. It had to take like big, big love. And I don't want to use the word jealous. I guess I'll say envious. People were always envious, and still, I think, probably are, of the connection that Roger and I had, because it's rare. And most people go their whole lifetime without knowing that type of big love. I get to experience it again. And I think the other thing about it too is like, yeah, this is a not normal love. Like, this is like such big, expansive love. Like, she has that same energy to this is something you alluded to at the beginning of the episode. Like, she has that same energy of like wanting for me, like wanting me to be like happy, wanting me to be fulfilled, wanting me to have everything I've ever desired yesterday. And that's so rare. And yeah, and it's just really interesting too, because I went through, and we might need another episode for this. I went through a huge adjustment period, like because I hadn't thought I would be in a relationship again. And so it brought up a lot of things with my grief. And I had to break down a lot of walls. And there were a lot of times where I thought to myself, like, F this, I can't do this, because I mean, it might not seem like a long time, but I was on my own. I was on my own and fighting the fight, like, in survival, in healing mode for 4 years. And you build necessary protective tactics and ways of life in that time frame. It's necessary for you to heal and survive, to build those. And so, I had to break down a lot of that. And I know 1000% that God, source, my entire divine support team, Roger, the fact that it was a female and it's divine feminine energy was really critical, specifically for me and my experience, to help me heal more. And she's a therapist too, which I think is just even more like tapping into that healer energy. We're the same in that way of like wanting to help people heal. And also the sacredness and the promises that he and I made to each other. Like, I mean, before he passed, we would always say like he was my forever man. Like that was like an expression we always used. And in his promises to like always be there for me, that was part of the promise. Like he's my forever man. And having the divine, like the feminine, and having a woman come in is just such a powerful, beautiful shift in the energy. And seeing somebody with the same energy and same spirit of like giving, and that wants to provide so much love for me and to me, with me, it's just really amazing and expansive to see it as like a female energy, and so it's not lost on me that was like definitely, like, I just almost feel the other side, like, how are we going to make this work? Because there would have been so much comparisonitis that nobody would have been able to stand up to too, and none of that existed. Like, it doesn't exist. It's completely unique and separate.
That's what I was just feeling. Like I felt Roger come in and be like, that's exactly how it needed to be. Like that was the only way it was going to be the way that it needed to be, was with the divine feminine. Because I do think that, you're already very high vibrational, and it's literally a match made in heaven. It is literally a match made in heaven. You guys, she's something very special and very sacred. And she is just, she's a force. She's a force. And I think that, the protection that she gives and the love that she gives and the sacredness and just the expansion, because I do think that, Kim has a lot of protectiveness. She's gonna allow you to feel safe and in the ways that you need to grow, and she's your biggest cheerleader all the time. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful reciprocal love that you guys share.
Thank you. Well, I really hope these first two parts have helped expand some minds and awareness, and looking forward to the next episode.
Part 3. All right. See you later. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Follow our podcast. We release a new episode each and every week, and join us on Facebook inside the Soul Revival community. Come be a part of the magic. We'll see you there.